Hi and welcome to this episode of Gridiron TV. We're now into week 2 of the BAFA Universities League, and on tonight's show we're going to be joined by the Hertfordshire Hurricanes, the national champions, one of their coaches, Simon Hatcher.
We're also joined by Alex Jenkins, a friend of the show and an FBU graduate, to talk about the next steps that he's about to take in his footballing career over in the US.
And also very shortly we're going to be joined in the studio by our special guest Matthew Davies. Matthew has just become one of the coaches of the Kilbride Pirates, and we'll be talking to them about their preparations for the 2013 season. But Alan, let's talk about some key games from the weekend. There were some quite big scores up there, and it seems to be your usual suspects who are racking up the points at the moment.
Yep, so same again, north to south. We've got Stirling going beyond the 50 mark again. National champions, the Hurricanes, get off the mark with a comfortable win first week. So we've seen a couple of big games, and on the flip side also some 1 or 2 point games as well. So some narrow losses for some teams.
Absolutely, and we see also the Loughborough Aces, kick-starting their season as well, and Birmingham, 8-3-0 over the Lincoln Colonials, who we'll be covering next week actually, this Saturday. So, the usual suspects there, are they sending a message out to say, if you want to be in the finals, you're going to have to beat us? Definitely,
you need to be that standard if you're going to be the top of the table, really. So they really set the mark on the standard of where they would like to see university football, and it's tough for teams playing them, but it's also good aspiration to see these guys playing, see how such good teams drill themselves and how they prepare for games.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Stirling Clansmen there and beating the Edinburgh Napier Knights, who went 0-2 at the weekend. In fact, actually, don't go away, we'll be right back, where we'll be joined by the offensive coordinator for the Edinburgh Napier Knights, Matthew Davies. And welcome back to Gridiron TV. I am now joined by Matthew Davies from the East Kilbride Pirates. Matthew, welcome back on the show.
Thank you very much indeed.
We had you on commentating with us at Brit Bowl. How's things been since then?
Been good, yeah. I've been busy in the off-season with the Pirates, obviously preparing for the big challenges ahead next year. And as you saw yesterday at the Napier Knights, I'm coaching there in the off-season too. So yeah, keep myself out of trouble.
We hear the East Kilbride Pirates obviously aren't resting at the moment. After getting so close to getting to the finals, you're doing a monthly training session.
We are indeed. So there are some teams that get straight back into it, and there are some teams that just totally disband over the winter. We are trying to kind of find a balance between that. We don't want the guys to have the same level of commitment to attending training during the off season, but at the same time we don't want them to kind of get rusty in preparation for the challenges next year. So once a month we're getting everyone together and having a team training session just like we normally do, and get guys running routes, get guys blocking and stuff, and it's been positive so far.
I mean, you did pretty well obviously last season, getting to the semi-finals and losing very narrowly to the eventual British champions. I mean, obviously we won't talk about previously, but I take it this is you guys saying, look, we want to step up and take it that next step further. We want to be in Sheffield next year. Is that what you have said to the players?
Absolutely. I mean, the blitz are the model that we've tended to follow for the last few years. Those are the guys that are coming out on top every year. Those are the guys that are there to beat. So the realisation from the guys is that we had a great season and we ran the blitz close in the semi-final, but we're still not at that level yet. We've still got work to do. We need to be recruiting guys. Everyone needs to be in the gym. We need to be sharper when we take the field. So every area of our organisation we're always looking to improve, definitely.
So how far do you think you're away from being like a London Blitz team? Being up to that level, how far do you think you're away?
I think it's one of those things where our first team are probably not a long way off, but it's the depth that teams like that have. When they came up to play us, they'd had some of their kind of key guys missing, and they beat us. Having travelled the length of the country, and when that happens that you're just not quite where you need to be, and we were pretty strong that day. We didn't have many key guys missing, so we know that if we played them down there with all of their guys there and all of our guys there, it might have been a different result. It could have been, the margin could have been bigger, and we know we're realistic about where we are. It's the depth that we lack, and just that final sharpness.
I mean, have you lost any senior players this year, or are you recruiting again for any rookies? If anybody wants to get involved, how can they sort of contact you guys?
Well, we've lost some guys. I mean, I have played centre for the last 4 years, and I've played for the Pirates for 7, and I'm retiring this year to move into coaching. But we've got quite a lot of depth on the offensive line, and we've got some new guys coming in, some guys who played previous that we know are coming back. So I don't feel like we're losing much there. One of our kind of utility guys, Craig Towler, who played primarily slot receiver, but he also played running back, played a bit of quarterback in his time. He's moved on too. The two of us joined the same year, and he's got a new kind of career that means he won't be able to be involved. So there are a few guys here and there, but equally we've got guys coming back who played for us previously. We've got a strong link with one of the gyms in Glasgow, varsity gym, where we've got 13 or 14 guys in there regularly, and through that we're picking up new guys. We've developed our links with the Glasgow Rocks basketball team over the last year or so. Our running backs coach Sean Covins involved with them, and he brought along a couple of guys last year who were just stand out straight away, athletic, fast, powerful, and through that we've got some more guys coming along from there, which will strengthen our squad. So we're always on the lookout. There are rookie sessions will take place in the early part of the year in January, and then all the guys will be back into training at the beginning of February. So there's always opportunities to get involved, and that's on and off the field. We're always looking for coaches. And we've been successful with guys who have maybe coached previously and then had some time out and come back to it, or who have been dissatisfied with where they've been previously and have come along. But equally, we've had guys who have never coached before. Sean had a background in coaching, but not with American football, came along and was successful. So, anybody that's keen to get involved, we're keen to have.
Absolutely. But let's look at next season. Let's look at 2013. Obviously the league has restructured the whole of the league, obviously, but let's focus on Premier Division North for the time being, and we've got the teams coming up at the moment. You look at the teams that you've got, you played last year, there's a couple of dishes like your Birmingham Bulls, your Sheffield Predators. Do you see that it's going to be, without being disrespectful to other teams, you seem to be quite comfortable in that position? Are you going to feel in that again, or are you feeling a bit apprehensive of new teams coming into the mix? You're
always apprehensive of teams that you don't know, but equally the teams that you do know change so much in an off-season. You look at a team like Leicester. They were British finalists one year, and the next year they almost went to the wall. On the other hand, you've got a team like, for example, the Trojans, who were Division 2, came up to Division 1 amidst rumours they were about to fold, and went all the way to the final and just about won the whole thing. So it's challenging, because you never know what you're going to get when you face these teams for a start, until there's a few games in and people have some film to watch and maybe some scouting done, and then you get a feel for what guys are all about. But with teams like Sheffield, they're a completely unknown quantity to us. We've seen them play, and obviously they run a style of offence that we've seen in kind of fits and starts from other teams, but we've never played a full game against that sort of thing. So equally, we could play them on in May, June next year, and they could have a completely different offense. You just never know what's coming, and so it's just about making sure that we're preparing to do what we do and to do it well, and that when the time comes around and the scouting information is available, that we make best use of that.
Absolutely. Do you think, obviously from a personal stance as well, not necessarily East Kilbride stance, do you think it's a good thing for British football, this restructure that the league's done?
I think so. I think one of the big challenges that every team has is costs, and I think that the further north you get, the more that kind of expands, because the distance between the teams kind of increases, and the travel costs become unmanageable in some cases. And I think that's always got to be taken into account. Equally, last year when a team decided that they couldn't complete their season, that cost us 2 games, whereas this year we play everyone once. So if a team does go to the wall, it means that we only lose 1 game, and you never want to be talking about that as a reality. But the fact of the matter is, every year without fail, somebody doesn't complete their season, and that has a big impact on teams being able to develop a profile locally, because they have games they lose. We lost 2 home games last year out of a regular season of 5, so 40% of our home games are gone. That means we lose revenue from those games. We lose the opportunity to push ourselves out, both as a kind of marketable entity, but also in a recruitment point of view. You say, "I'll come along and see us against X team," and the game gets cancelled, and people turn up and there's nothing there to see, and it makes it challenging. So I think the 11 teams is definitely going to benefit in that way.
Yeah, and that's the exact problem. But look, let's turn to, you mentioned at the start you coach for the Edinburgh Napier Knights as well. Let's briefly end on that one. You're unfortunate you've went 0-2 yesterday. You were up against the quite dominant Klansmen, but to be fair to your team, in the second half you shut them out to 1 touchdown.
We did. We had a scoreless third quarter, and we held them to a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Obviously you had Pete Laird, the head coach in Napier, on last week, and I think both he and I, I'm the offensive coordinator, he's the DC, we're both pretty realistic about where we are as a team. And I spoke at length to Coach Orr yesterday, the head coach of Stirling, and said, we are where they were 3 years ago. They started getting a programme in place and really putting in things like strength and conditioning coaches, having their own facilities, and this year we're in a great place. We've got all that, but equally we've got a rookie O-line. We've got 1 returner who played 2 games for us last year. We've got a quarterback back who's never played the position before. So we're working with great guys. I mean, a great bunch of guys and a committed bunch of guys, but equally they're new to the sport, and it takes time to be good. I think the loss to UWS in the first week was a hard one to take, because last year they went winless against Scottish opposition, and so we were I wouldn't say we were expecting to win, but we were expecting to perform better than we did, and I think that gave guys a wake-up call. And yesterday, to some extent, was about damage limitation. They put 100 points past Glasgow, we saw them put 68 past Edinburgh, so we knew they were going to be tough, but it's just about taking it one step at a time and making sure that we're concentrating on execution and fundamentals and constantly developing as a team.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's a learning curve for all these new guys as well. But look, Matthew, thanks for coming on. I wish you all the best for the remaining college season, and I wish you all the best for the senior season as well in 2013, and no doubt we'll speak again soon.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks so much. So don't go away, Gridiron TV, we'll be right back.
What's going on, everybody? Cecil Martin here, former Philadelphia Eagle, Oakland Raider, Tampa Bay Buccaneer. You see me on Sky Sports. We're here at FBU, NCAA Athletic Recruiting. You're seeing all of this on Gridiron TV.
Hi, welcome back to Gridiron TV. Well, Alan, our featured game we will show highlights of in a minute. You were in Sheffield at the weekend. How was that game?
Yep, so it was the Sabres and the Bombers, and it was quite an evenly contested game actually, a lot of back and forth between the teams. Obviously Sheffield are defending plate champions, and they're a very well drilled and very well organised side, great coaching staff, so it was really exciting, but you'll see from the footage in a second that they made that discipline pay off eventually.
Okay.
Yep, so let's take a look at that action right now then.
congratulations, second victory of the season. How are you feeling right now?
Good, yeah, obviously we're 2-0. It's a great feeling. I'll be honest though, we could have been better today. Our execution wasn't as good as it should have been, and you know, if we want to compete in the playoffs and at the end of the season, we need to be at a better level than we played today.
Yeah, the team looked like it might have lost a little bit of momentum going into the second half, but they did manage to regain it and get more points on the board. What did you say to the team at half-time?
Well, it's more about execution and just getting our minds right, really, rather than what we came out with was points, but we didn't come out with any kind of fire, any kind of passion. We were kind of going through the motions, and it was just more of a matter of getting people into the game because their heads weren't quite right. So it was more a matter of, yeah, that more than anything else.
So what do you need to talk with the team about, and what do you need to work on for next week's game, for the next games?
Execution, primarily. There are a lot of drop passes today, a couple of missed assignments. You know, playbook knowledge and things like that is absolutely key, and we can't be making those mistakes if we want to be able to compete at the highest level. So execution, first and foremost.
Okay. Well, 35 points to 6 victory today. Congratulations, coach.
Thank you very much.
Well, Alan, we saw the footage there. It was some really good footage you shot down in Sheffield. Yeah. I mean, Sheffield, we talked about the reigning plate champions. Are they looking good for getting to Leeds again this year?
They are, I think so. You know, they ran it really well on offence, and defence contributed really well. And we heard from Coach Molnar at the end there that he would like to see things tweaked a little bit in terms of execution, just really taking advantage of every play they can. We saw on the reel there was a few chances to get a big long touchdown passes that just couldn't quite connect on, and just a couple things out from really putting a lot more points on the board.
And you see where Tim comes from, really. You know, when you're going into playoffs and you're coming up against a better standard of team, and they really need to make sure all those offensive drives count.
Definitely, and look at them through warm-ups and through pre-game prep. They're really well organised and disciplined. So I think he was mentioning that his team is doing a great job. The players are doing a great job at looking after each other, making sure that they had their pre-season workouts, getting in the gym, getting to classroom sessions, and, you know, kind of spurring each other on to make sure they can do the best possible.
Well, Alan, we talk about preparation and getting yourself into the gym. We're going to be coming back in a wee minute just to talk about Alex Jenkins. I mean, we know him quite well. We've spoken to him a few times, and for anybody who doesn't know who Alex is, Alex has a graduate from the Feltham Academy down in Bristol, who seem to be churning out college divisional players at the moment with Elliot Hoyt at Boys Estate. And the good news is Alex Jenkins is heading the same way to America to play Division 2 ball, but only after he's represented Team Europe in the FBU games over in San Antonio. So don't go away, we'll be right back. We'll be joined on the phone with Alex. I'm now joined by Alex Jenkins on the show. Alex, thanks for joining us on Gridiron TV.
Thanks for having me, Stuart.
Well, Alex, we wanted to talk to you about your scholarship to the States, and we'd like to congratulate you on your scholarship to Division 2 University of the Incarnate Word.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's a good feeling to finally hear those words. Yeah.
I mean, I know we've spoken a couple of times, and you've basically said, you know, you've had people contact you about interest. You know, I mean, looking at people who were interested in you in the beginning after the Top Gun event.
Yeah.
Why did you choose the University of the Incarnate Word?
Well, I had a few different conversations with the coaches down at the Incarnate Word. With Coach Mike Briglin, he approached me, and we had a few phone calls together, and it just like it's a medium-sized university. You know, he's just telling me about how the university will be able to take care of me, just not in football, but in academics as well, and just like university life. And so they have some students from London now who play the soccer in the soccer part of the school. So they're used to having international students, so it wouldn't be that much of a big change for them. Mm-hmm. He told me that I wouldn't need to redshirt, that I'll be able to play in the first year that they go into Division 1 in the 2013 season, which is obviously a massive thing for me, because with some of the big teams I feel like I would have been there, but I wouldn't have been playing for maybe 3 years. Yeah. So, you know, like being able to play in my first year as a true freshman is going to be a it's going to be an amazing experience, but a hard one.
I mean, when you move to Division 1, what kind of teams will you be playing against?
We'll be playing against Sam Houston State, West Texas A&M, I believe.
So really good quality sides then.
Yeah. So some good quality sides. But the school is getting bigger, and they've got an ex Super Bowl winning head coach. So it's all up, and it's better than anything I've had over here in England.
Fantastic, and it sounds all good. I mean, what are you most excited about when you reach the States? What excites you most about going out there?
I know it sounds sad, but just training, just like being able to train with like a group of individuals that are all trying to do the same thing, that are all like trying to be the best. Because when you're over here, not everyone is trying to be the best, and just trying to work as hard as they can. So I'm looking forward to just playing, just training and playing and meeting new people, just expanding my friends group and all that stuff. Like it's just the experience is going to be completely different to anything I've had over here.
Absolutely, and obviously fitting that in with your studies as well is going to be, certainly a wake-up call for you, is it not?
Yeah, it's going to be a new experience, but something that I'm ready for and I'm prepared for.
I mean, we look at the Cardinals. They've just finished their season and they finished 2-9. I mean, are you confident that you can make a big difference to the Cardinals so they can have a successful season next year?
Yeah, I hope so. I have faith in my ability, and I have faith in the coaches, and I don't think they would have looked at me if they didn't think I could have helped the team. I'm definitely looking forward to getting onto the defence, and I'm going to get the playbook sent over to me soon. So, yeah, I hope I can make a difference. I have all the faith that I can do my best. And
well, Alex, we know you're going to be playing defensive end for the Cardinals. In fact, you finished top 5 in Top Gun, which we mentioned earlier in the season. We know your physical attributes. We saw your measurables that you produced over in the FBU. How confident are you in regards to transferring all that from FBU, all the experiences you gain? What did you pick up most that will then help you better in San Antonio?
Well, FBU itself, it was a great experience. It was a humbling experience, just to be around these kids who have been playing for 13 years. I've been playing for a year, and this incredible athletes. Like, I was playing against Notre Dame, Michigan State lineman. The other defensive end with me, he was committed to LSU. It was just like I learned a lot of things, I learned a lot of things from the coaches, obviously, but I learned a lot more things from the players. Just the way they are, it's completely different to British football. That's all I can say. It's just they play a lot differently to British people, and I really think that's going to help me when I get to America, because it's like playing against Americans before I get there is definitely a good thing. You know what I mean? Because they play a lot differently.
They're a lot faster, a lot more physical as well, aren't they? I mean, no disrespect to guys playing in the British game. There is some good standards, but America, it's a different ball game. Really is quite literally a different ball game.
Yeah, there's no second place. There's no second place in America for the Americans. That's what the kind of vibe they were giving off to me.
I mean, Alex, you're obviously, let's talk about FBU more. You're obviously been selected for the Team Europe side, and we've seen you selected up in Stirling earlier this year as well. And heading to San Antonio, I mean, how are your preparations going for that?
Yeah, they're going good. It's just a case of training hard. So nothing I'm not used to, but I've stepped up a lot more. I'm still training down in Bristol with Ben Herod and the Pride. Getting some more extra training with the kit on and stuff. But as far as weight training and just increasing my physical ability, it's the same as it's always been. I haven't stopped really since I started.
I mean, we look at FBU. You took football up after a year. I believe you played soccer quite regularly whilst you lived in London. What influenced you to take up the game?
It was, if I'm honest, it was out of boredom. Like, I got bored of soccer. I got very bored of it. And I wanted to. I already played rugby. I tried rugby. I was good at rugby, and I really enjoyed it. But it was something I already done. So I was just googling American football, and I always liked the look of it, and it seemed like a game which suited my physical ability, because I was always big and I was always fast, but my strength didn't really matter that much in soccer. Herod and asked him if I can come down to a training session, and he said yeah, and then it went from there, really. With the great.
Yeah.
And then,
has Ben Herod been one of the most influential people you've met in the game?
Yeah, Ben Herrod's got a passion for the game, and not me. He definitely encouraged me a lot, because when I started out, I didn't know how bad I wanted to play the game until I had more conversations with Ben, and Ben said maybe you could be good at this game, Alex, and maybe you could go to the States and stuff like that. But Ben's really passionate about the pride, about the Aztecs, and he kind of gave a little bit of that to me. And when I travelled to Virginia with him to Top Gun, and I definitely see more of that. And he's helped me out loads in this.
Mm-hmm. And also you've got a good coach in Rob Orr as well as your assistant coach for FBU, and I know Rob Orr speaks very highly of you as well. But what I find interesting about Filton Academy, Bristol Academy I believe, they send Elliot Hoyt to Boys Estate, who's redshirted this season I believe, and then obviously you're going to be starting for a Division 1 side in the Incarnate Word. There must be something in the water down in Bristol at the moment.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you why. Undoubtedly, Ben is probably the best football coach in England. I could definitely say that, because I've been to Great Britain. I've had the coach in there, great coaching staff as well. But Ben is an incredible coach. I don't know, maybe just the atmosphere, the players, just it's like a community down there. Small, Bristol's not a massive place. There's a small community of football players, and maybe it just works.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any kids out there who want to try and follow in your footsteps, Alex, what would you say to them? What do they have to do to get to that level?
I think the things I've always went by is you can never be the best on your team, you can never be the best in your county, and you can never be the best in your city or your country. You just always got to aim higher. And I've always pushed myself, week in, week out. I pushed myself in the gym, but when it came to football, I just wanted to go beyond. I wanted to go beyond, and I wanted to be the best, and just hope. Luckily, I did enough to get me to the States. So, my advice would be just knuckle down. It's simple. It's very simple. You just decide to make a change. You decide to play better, to train harder, and not make excuses and stuff. I think I missed one training session last year, and that was just because I couldn't get there. So it's just don't make excuses and just go for it. Just do it. So
100% dedication, and I can see that in the video as well that we posted up for you earlier this year as well. And we can see that the work and the ethic that you have to achieve this, and it's no easy feat.
No, it's definitely not. It hasn't been a year of trying. It's been my whole. I started when I was about 14. I've been training since I was 14. So it hasn't been 1 year of just training. It's been for a good portion of my life. So it's just determination.
Well, Alex, and I won't keep you too long. And obviously, you're heading out to the States on the 28th of December, I believe. Obviously, everybody here at Gridiron TV, and I'm sure everybody in the whole of the American football family in the UK, wish you all the very best, and good luck with your new life, should I say, because it is going to be a new life, and it's going to be difficult, and there's going to be ups and downs, and I'm sure everybody in the UK will support you, and certainly make sure you do everything you can.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
No problems, Alex. Look, thanks for coming on Gridiron TV, and good luck in the future, mate.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Nice to speak to you.
You too. Well, Alan, let's look at all the results from the weekend. If you want to start off with the Saltire League.
Yeah, we'll start up north in the Saltire division, and it's the Napier Knights losing a bad one to Stirling Clansmen, so they keep their dominance rolling. 56-0 victors there. On the other end of the scale, you've got the Glasgow Tigers, tied with Edinburgh Predators after full time, but taking it in overtime with another touchdown, so they come out 21-14 victors.
And we look at the North Eastern Conference, and the first fixture of the weekend in the North Eastern Conference was the Spartans against the Durham Saints, and unfortunately that was postponed due to wrong markings on the pitch, believe it or not actually due to the weather. But the U8 Sharks ran out comfortable winners over the Bradford Bears 31-16, and the Newcastle Raiders lose to the Leeds Celtics 6-19 to Leeds Celtics.
Moving into the Northwestern Conference, we've got another postponement with the Bangor Mud Dogs and the Hallam Warriors losing a game this week, so that'll have to be pushed back further into their season. But the Sabres Coming out comfortable victors against the Lancaster Bombers, 35 points to 6. Also comfortable victors with the Derby Braves, shutting out the MMU Eagles and winning 58-0. And their crosstown rivals, the Manchester Tyrants, pulled out a victory against the Huddersfield Hawks, winning 19 points to 8.
And moving to the MAC, and the NTU Renegades and the Wolverhampton Wildcats was postponed also this weekend. But we also talk about shutouts. Alan, Coventry Jets shutting out the DMU Falcons with a 27-0 victory. And we look at the ever-dominant Birmingham Lions, 83-0 winners over next week's feature team, the Lincoln Colonials. And the Loughborough Aces shut out the Leicester Longhorns, 49-0. And also our feature team next week, the Northampton Nemesis, they lose to the Warwick Wolves, 13-2.
Now going on to the southwest, and Cardiff putting another victory on the board against Exeter, 20 points to 15, so congratulations to them. And Bristol, the Barracudas winning 21 points to 6 against the Royals. We saw the Bath Killer Bees in the final last year, and they continue to take another step closer to returning there, winning 21 points to 14 against the Plymouth Blitz. And the Gloucester Gladiators marking up another shutout against the Bath Spa Bulldogs, winning 40 points to 0.
And we move into the Thames Valley League, and the RHUL Bears were beaten comfortably by the BNU Buccaneers, 48-13. And we see the Staffordshire Stags running home on a massive victory of 47 points to 20 of the Brunel Burners. And we see the Solent Redhawks shutting out the Oxford Lancers, 30-0. And we look to Portsmouth Destroyers. Very close game here with the Kingston Cougars, and they won that one 12-6. And we look to Reading, they win that one comfortably with a nice shutout again, 39-0 over the Surrey Stingers.
And finishing off in the SEC, and we have Canterbury, who were on the other side of a 1-point game last week. This time they come out losers, 12-13 against Kent Falcons, so a tight one there. And then we got the return of the national champions, winning 53 points to 0 against the Essex Blades. Imperial Mortals winning 10 points to 6 against the KCL Regents. And the LSBU Spartans losing narrowly to the Cambridge Pythons. Cambridge win 14 points to 12.
Let's have a look at a couple of key games then, as we mentioned, and we look at the Derby Braves, absolute walkout winners yesterday. Yeah,
a great game for them, and it's the kind of game that really gives every player a real confidence boost, especially on scores like that. It gives people a chance to get backups in, get more game time, but sets you up well for the season. When you get a nice big win like that at the start of the season, it's really good for your team feeling and also your individual feeling about moving forward into the tougher games at the end of the stretch.
Absolutely, and as I say, we mentioned quite a regular basis, and we saw them on Sky Sports at the weekend. Birmingham Lions again, walkout winners, 83-0 against the Lincoln Colonials. Yeah. I mean, is there any stopping this juggernaut of Birmingham at the moment?
Well, we talk about the top teams in the country setting the standard for uni football, and they're there every year. So there's such a well-drilled side. Coaching staff do an amazing job there, and they've got more players returning, and even bringing their rookies up to standards and getting scores like that on the board. It must be so daunting for other teams in the MAC to think about playing them, and obviously going into playoffs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also look at the Loughborough Aces and the Leicester Longhorns as well. Loughborough Aces, walk over again, shut out 49-0 for Paul Sharat's team.
Yep, so a good start at home on a nice sunny day. So a great start to their home campaign, and it's going to set them up for a good season, I think.
And also the Hertfordshire Hurricanes, national champions, 53-0 again at the weekend, the first game of the weekend. Yeah. Are they saying to everybody, look, we're back here, we want this divisional title again, and it's really up to these other big teams and your teams as well, really, to say, well, actually, we're going to try and challenge you guys.
Yeah, it's down to them to keep a hold of the title and not let it slip, so they want to keep winning in the same way they did last year, and the same way they've done in previous years. They've won the national title several times now, so they've got experience running for years into the organisation, so they'll be happy with that. I think they'll want to work on it more and more, and I'm guessing there'll be a little bit of competition to try and match some of the Birmingham scores, see if they can try and get that high. Yeah. Even up to Stirling as well in North. So those kind of three teams are setting the standard for the big scores right now.
I mean, we talk about Stirling though, we see they put 100 points in Glasgow, they put massive loads of points on Edinburgh Predators, and then obviously you're talking like 56 points at the weekend over Edinburgh. The issue you've got when they come up against bigger teams in the playoffs later in the year, what's important is these rookies then, they've got to understand that you're in the fourth quarter, you're only 5 points behind. Yeah. Have they got what it takes to then move and try and win that game? Because we saw them against Loughborough Aces last year. Yeah. done fantastically well, Loughborough Aces, and even the words of Rob Orr, they were taught a footballing lesson.
Yeah, we've seen it in the senior leagues. In fact, we've talked about it on this show. Teams that win big every week, you wonder how they're going to react in a tight game, if they've got what it takes to come from behind, or even in a tight match to hold on to a victory or to get that winning score. So it's all well and good to win every week, but as long as your rookies and as well as your starters are comfortable with knowing that should it come down to the wire or should you go behind, you've just got to get yourself mentally prepared and think, right, let's get it back. Let's get back to our winning ways that we've had in all the other games so far.
Absolutely.
Well, we mentioned the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. They have been a dominant team, and we managed to catch up with one of the coaches, Simon Hatcher, to talk about the team's success and his thoughts on how they're playing so far this year. We're joined on the show by Simon Hatcher. Simon, thanks very much for joining us.
No problem. Nice being on the show.
Let me start by saying congratulations on the weekend. You kicked off your campaign from this year quite convincingly, 53 points to 0. How did the game go for you?
Yeah, it went great. Couldn't ask for more, really. Essex always struggle at the start of the year because they're one of the universities that come back quite late, so we had a bit of a head start anyway, and we just got on top of them early, and then there was no going back, really. Okay, so it's a fairly easy start for the team, would you say? Well, I mean, the score made it look easy, but Essex is always well coached. They're a good team to play, and they just take a little while. You can see over the sort of history of their seasons, they just take a little longer to get going because of their lateness. I think they will be a strong team later on in the year.
Okay, and now this is the start of the season, and you've been with the team obviously through the pre-season and the off-season. How have you seen the team develop since the championship last year and prepare for this season?
Well, really well. One of the things that we really were worried about was sort of complacency, and sort of it's always difficult to repeat or have the motivation to repeat. But we've put some sort of we and the players have put in some key projects, so to speak. So we've got sort of a lifting program which Coach Julio is doing, and sort of lots of sort of targets and goals that we're going to meet, and just the players have been fantastic, their motivation. So actually we started off hitting the ground running, really, so looking good, and we had a good rookie crop as well, so can't complain at all.
Yeah, it must be a big confidence booster, especially for the rookies as well as your returners. And looking forward to next week, you've got the Cambridge Pythons. So they've just come off a narrow victory against the Spartans. How are you going to be preparing as a unit and as a team to face Cambridge?
Yeah, very similar to our sort of normal preparations. We look at film on Tuesday nights and run our scout offence and defence. Then on Thursday night we sort of do a normal practice and a little bit more scout offence and defence, just so we've got an understanding of what they run, and we've seen it a few times. On Sunday, execute what we've been practicing through the week.
It's certainly shaping up to be a very good season for you, certainly, at least going off the basis of the first game and what we've noticed from the team so far. So thanks very much for joining us on the show, and no doubt we'll be in touch with you later in the season to find out how the team's doing and to see how they're developing.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much to Coach Hatcher there from the Hurricanes for joining us. Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for on this week's show, so thank you very much to all our guests, Alex Jenkins, Coach Hatcher there, and Matthew Davies from the East Kilbride Pirates.
And also, if you want to get involved with the sport and you want to get involved with Gridiron TV, you can always join us on our Facebook page, which is Gridiron TV.
Or you can follow us on Twitter, which is @Gridiron_TV.
And also our website, where you can see all our videos and latest news articles on www.gridirontv.co.uk.
And if you have any questions for the show, or you want to be involved in the show or get your team involved in the show, you can send them to info@gridirontv.co.uk.
And remember, we will be down in Lincoln this weekend on Saturday, a 1 p.m. kickoff. It's Lincoln against Northampton. So again, thank you for joining us, and we'll leave you now with a roundup of this week's highlights.
Goodbye.